Hello and welcome back to the channel. It's Wednesday night, which means one thing, League One action. We are reviewing the weekend's games. So much went on. It was a big weekend in League One. It is so close from the bottom to the top. There's 6 points between 18th and 4th. It is mental. There's games in hand. There's games coming up thick and fast. We've got Saturday, Tuesday. It's just 5 weeks till the World Cup commences. Doesn't mean a lot for League One, but it will mean a lot of televised fixtures and, again, a lot of kind of fixtures not on the same day as others as well, which puts pressure on those at the top and at the bottom. But we can't preview this alone. We do need a League One co-host, and he's going to come in now. Jake, how are we doing? So look at that grin. I don't want to hear about the result or who you played because I think the internet may be down in Ipswich this week. But how are we doing?
No, mate. All good. All good. I'm a bit tired. I've had a long couple of days at work, but I cannot wait to preview. This has the potential to be one of the best weeks in recent Lincoln history. Obviously the result on Saturday, given who we also play on the weekend, and my sort of fascination with them. And if we beat them, then crikey, I might go off the rails. But no, mate, it's been a very good weekend for League One football. Yeah. I think all around the board. I think even it just shows how far we're coming. Like you said about televised games that we had, Monday Night Football was a League One game. So looking forward to talking about all the games really.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I've watched all the games, not watched them full. I've probably watched 2.5 hours worth of League One football this week, which a bit more than I normally watch. And I've focused on 4 or 5 teams a little bit more. You're probably seeing that. We will start off with Accrington against Derby. But before that, we're going to come to your guys in the chat. Up the Charlton. Again, looking forward to this. Again, loads of comments. So, yeah, keep them flying in. Keep the questions flying in as well. And if you could subscribe to the channel, we've got a nice little feature at the end of the show. So stick around for the next hour or so. Jake, we'll start off in Lancashire in Accrington. What a crazy game.
No, absolutely. That mental, wasn't it? Do you know what? I kind of saw this coming. Derby, obviously, they picked up the first away win the other week, didn't they? And once a squad like Derby get going and go through the motions, and they're going to pick up results. And also, I'm going to tell you, I predicted that with Osher is going to score goals. We played Sheffield United in a pre-season friendly, and he completely tore us apart this season. And we were very close to signing him. However, we went to Derby. Not really hit the heights since he's moved to Derby. Obviously, he's been behind the likes of Mendes Lang, Tom Barkes, and some good wide players that they've got over at Derby. But first chance to start a game, bags 2 goals. And that's not even the reason why the game's crazy, because Accrington obviously missing 2 penalties in the space of, 2 minutes? I'm pretty sure also that Derby are 1-0 up at the time, and they missed 2 penalties, and then they go pretty much right up the other end, and Oscar scores his second. So, look, massive result for Derby. Obviously, they've got games in hand at the moment, which puts them in a good position if they can win those. But Accrington, you're sort of thinking, how on earth have you missed 2? And the quality of the penalties as well, Ben. Morecambe won it that took them both. After the first one, he's missed the first one. Would you let him take it again? He's got shot to pieces. Maybe you have to commend the character for wanting to put it right, but the second one was worse than the first one.
Yeah, agree. And it was 62 seconds between each penalty. Now, the first one for me isn't a penalty. The second one is. So I think justice was done with the first one. It is a good stop, to be fair. Fair play to Derby, by the way. There's 2,600 Derby fans in a crowd of 4,800. Now, I'm not mocking Accrington. That's the way they do things, by flooding the gates and getting that attendance up, because it's a great money spinning. You're not just thinking about the crowd. You're probably making 50 grand from the crowd, from beer sale, from your fanzine outside, from your programmes, from all that sort of stuff as well. It's great for the town. And, I want to commend Accrington on that. Look, Accrington and Derby are, on the pitch, quite similar. They're both in the same league. They're both kind of fighting to, be at the right end of the table. Accrington, obviously, more top 12 than top two, like. But Derby County as a football club are miles, a bigger club than Accrington and Stanley. But this is what I love about this league, that these crazy games, they kind of, you can't write them. And Oshalu, I really like as well. That second one was an absolute peach. Defensively from Accrington, it was shocking. Don't get me wrong. But he just blasted into the corner. And then Barkusen, I think it's good to see him. It's a tap-in. Let's be honest with you. It's a good save, first of all. But he needed that. He's got a couple of assists already, hasn't he? It's his first goal. It's a big result, that. Accrington are a weird side because the last 8 games, they've lost 5, but won 3. They kind of lost 3, won 3, lost 2. So, it's not too bad, 9 points. And, some teams like myself are saying, I want to lose more games, but win more games instead of draw games. So, Derby just need to keep this momentum. Look, Paul Warren, when he gets a win under his belt, it's quite frightening, because these are the types of wins where they can go away at Cambridge, they did, and win away at Accrington and win, which under a senior, they were drawing 0-0. They couldn't score. They were blanking, weren't they? They're scoring goals now, looking promising on the attack, and it's a really good result for them. Accrington now, tough run of games coming. Peterborough and Bolton coming up, and then, away trips to Fleetwood and Lincoln, where, those 2 games are your point spinners. But, those 2 sides are being hard to beat at the moment as well. We'll go on to Bolton against Barnsley, Jake. Now, Barnsley, I think that was their 4th consecutive clean sheet on the road. They are being hard to beat, but that's Bolton's 3rd game without a goal. So a bit frustrating for Bolton. A great point away at Bolton, a promotion rival. 2 similar sides, I'd say, as well, where they are on the pitch, in terms of young managers on the pitch as well. Both 2 good defenders back in the day. I think, for me, better point for Barnsley, because away from home, I'm reacting to the defeat just recently as well.
Yeah, whilst we often sing the praises of both of these teams, really, for what they can do on the pitch. The issue for Bolton is sort of becoming a bit more glaringly obvious, isn't it? That they're really struggling to score at the moment. Yes, they're really good at the back. They keep it tidy. They've got James Trafford, who's probably one of the best, maybe in the top 5 goalkeepers for the level. But they can't score, and they've got so many good strikers going forward. John Daddy Bodvarsson and Dapo Afalai and Dion Charles. You're really struggling as to why they're not scoring. I think I even saw a tweet this week. It might have been a bit tongue-in-cheek, saying that, if Ian Evatt can't get the best out of Dapo Afalai, then another manager definitely will. So, you may be starting to sway to some Bolton fans that might be starting to go Evatt out, which would surprise me. But I think you're right. Barnsley, definitely the better point for Barnsley. Same amount of shots. It just seemed a low quality game, to be honest, Ben. But like you say, Barnsley be much happier with the point than Bolton will be. Ian Evatt will come out and say that they dominated the game. They've had 65% possession. They've had 8 shots, but only 1 on target, which tells you everything that's wrong with Bolton at the moment. So, I think they'll be in the market for a striker, or definitely a creative player in the January window. So that's to look forward to. Barnsley, I thought, were pretty good out of possession. I mean, they only had 35% of it, but I thought they really held the shape well. And obviously, Luca Connell going back to Bolton, where he made his name, it was just pretty nice. But good point for Barnsley. Obviously, keeps Bolton at arm's length for now, doesn't it? Although, they're pretty much identical records, aren't they, at the minute? Yeah.
Again, talk about identical records. Burton Morecambe, it's not exactly a classic, is it? Again, it's like that scene off The Undateables, isn't it? Those 2 at the moment. Burton Morecambe, punching well above the weight to be in League One. There's a number of clubs that you can name: Accrington, Fleetwood, Cambridge, you could say alike. There's so many clubs, but they're in League One for a good reason. Now, for me, Morecambe should be down to 10 men. That is an absolute cruncher. The lad on loan from Celtic, I think it is. Again, didn't really impress at Sheffield Wednesday either. But the one worry for Morecambe, I think that's 2 wins in 20 if you go back to last season as well. They got a couple of good results there with the way they beat Oxford. And remember, they beat Charlton away from home on Good Friday as well. But since then, wins have been hard to come from. it's been these draws that, in my opinion, have kept Derek Adams in a job. And if you look at their goals this year, they're not getting into the box too many times. They're the joint lowest scorers in the league with Fleetwood as well. It's Delaney with a right strike, with the direction on it. It was literally, didn't have much power on it, if I'm honest with you. It was just literally bullet into the corner, keeper no chance. But it's 0.8 goals per game, and they concede goals as well. They've not kept a clean sheet on the road yet this season as well. Even when they beat Forest Green, they still won 2-1. Now, this is Morecambe, where you think that you have to score 2 goals a game to win a game at least, sometimes 3. You're going to have to stop conceding goals. For me, you can stay up by scoring 1 goal a game in my eyes. I just think you've got to be tight defensively. And last season at home, they're not being great at home, and away from home as well. Keller Dunn, again, 5th goal of the season. I think it's his first at the Premier League this season as well. The one thing for Burton, they've got Cheltenham at home on Saturday, which is a huge game. But Morecambe are 6 points adrift, only 1 win this season. And I do worry for Morecambe. I really do, because Stockton's not firing and they're not getting goals from the established players.
Is it too early to call Crewe ruined my absolute saying now. Is it too early to call Morecambe the Crewe a couple of years ago of last season? Really, adrift at the bottom of the league table, aren't they? I think like you mentioned, the fact that they don't get in the box enough. I think Delaney scored from outside the box again this week, hasn't he? So, I mean, I'm sure if you ask Morecambe supporters, they'll probably be happy with a point away at Burton. But sooner rather than later in the league season, they're going to have to start picking up victories. And whether they're going to keep with Derek Adams, I'm not too sure. I fear that the club might feel that they need to make a managerial change. For Burton, Keller Dunn, again, a really, really talented footballer. I'm not sure how he's at Burton. He's very technically gifted. I think you saw that for Oldham last season in League Two. I think Burton supporters are sort of mesmerised that they've got him on the books. So, look, point for each team. Doesn't really do any team either favour, does it? Looking at the league table. But yeah, another game similar to Bolton Barnsley, another game that lacked quality again. But obviously the Bolton Barnsley game had players that could produce it. This game sort of felt like the bottom of the league derby, wasn't it? It was really poor. So I think both teams happy to take a point. Obviously, try and etch themselves towards 50, but I think both are going to struggle to reach that target, if I'm honest.
I agree. And I think if you're looking at it, I think they need 40 points from the last 33 games to stay up in my eyes. And you're looking at, what is it, 1 point a game, something like that. And it's like, at the moment, they're not even delivering that. So there's a long way to go. Yeah, I'm not writing them off, because I still think with this compact, even though we're not breaking for the World Cup, it's going to be a really weird season where things happen that we don't believe will happen or don't see will happen. I think this year, I said to Jake off air, there's 6 points between 4th and 18th, 14, 15 teams, all between each other. I know there's games in hand to be played, and that will obviously split the gap a little bit. Last season, I got bored of League One. I thought this top 8 are winning every week. It's like Liverpool or City the last 5 years. It's like they're relentless. They just don't stop. And you're talking about the top of the league. I think the top 3 at the moment are unbelievable. You look at Sheffield Wednesday, who are 2.07 points a game and can't even get into the top 2. But the other places in League One, they're up for grabs. And I tell you what, anyone in this league can have a right go at any place. And a couple of defeats, you're right back down. A couple of wins, Bristol Rovers were on the brink of the bottom 4. They were in the bottom 4 a couple of weeks ago, 3 wins in a row. And all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, hang on, we're 3 points off the playoffs. So it's a mesmerising League One. And things are going to happen this year that might blow your mind a little bit. And talk about blow your mind, Oxford were 4-0 up. This reminded me a bit of Oxford last year. They were pressing again. They were chasing every ball down. They were passing. They're getting the balls into the box. They were winning set pieces. And Brannigan works his magic again. I know he's not been brilliant this season for his standards, but he's still got 5 goals in 12. And then you've got Joseph, who brilliant goal, that amazing running. It's just an absolute brilliant slotted finish. And he is capable of them. He was young and up and coming at Wigan. And since then, opportunities have been few and far between. He obviously struggled at Swansea. Now, again, that's only his 4th goal of the season. It's his 1st goal for a while since they beat Burton at the Cassam. First win in 5 for Oxford. It's a huge win. Obviously, they'll be a bit annoyed conceding 2 goals late on, but Giovanni Brown and Nombe again getting an assist. We've done it with 2 weeks in a row. You look at Giovanni Brown; he's got 8 goals, 7 assists this season. It is phenomenal. Him, the players that have come up: Nombe, Giovanni Brown, Aaron Collins. These are players that have just got right into this league, and it happened. Stockton last year as well. Exeter, not so good. We'll come on to them in a minute. But Oxford deserve a lot of credit and maybe starting to turn the season around a little bit.
Yeah, I think our good friend Jack from the Young Fan podcast did a big apology, didn't he, to Carl Robinson this weekend after that result.
He'd be asking for him out again this week.
Well, the thing is, it was so weird because I was checking the halftime scores, obviously, as you do when you're in the stands, and you see Exeter City 0, Oxford United 4. You think, what on earth has gone on there? Given the fact that Exeter have been very good so far this season, Oxford have probably been so far under par. But the one thing that Oxford always need in their season is just one result to turn it around, and they go on this incredible run, this sort of time of year, don't they? And they go on and charge towards the top end of the table. This is the sort of result and performance, from what I can tell, from what I've heard associated with Oxford United, that might sort of do that for them. Obviously, Carl Joseph is a very talented boy, on loan from Swansea City, knows where the back of the net is, and it has done at this level for Wigan, obviously, and Cheltenham as well, where he was on loan there as well. Brannigan, similar to as close to a cheat code at this level as you can get, and then Sam Long getting the goal as well, which would be pretty good for him. But really impressive Oxford this week. The issue with Oxford is, can they back it up? Can they go and do it again? This season they've not been able to really put 2 performances together. So be interesting to see how they get on this weekend. But maybe some of those Robinson outers might be starting to change their mind if they can sort of go on one of those runs.
They're only they're only a few points off the playoffs, Exeter, but they're 6 points off the bottom 4. When you lose a game of football, I can guarantee you, clubs like Exeter, Cambridge, Fleetwood, Shrewsbury, those teams that are normally predominantly in the middle. And I think, Jake, you'll say the same. You've won a couple of games and gone on a good run. All of a sudden, you're thinking, win this game in hand, we're here. You lose it, you think, we lose that game in hand, and they win here. Oh, God. Win the bottom 4. Tom did it last week. Oh, we've got tough games coming up. If we don't win, it's mad game football, the mentality. Exeter's manager still, obviously, the assistant manager. Again, the worrying thing for me is they've had 15 games this season, Exeter. They've gone behind 7 times. They've lost 6 of them, only drew 1. Next up, Fleetwood at home. So...
Well,
you know what's going to happen there, lads. Get a bucket for Exeter to win. Talk about Fleetwood. We'll go on to them now. Again, I'll just talk quickly. Back-to-back home defeat for the Cod Army. Again, it's been a difficult, couple of weeks of Fleetwood in my eyes. They're the second lowest goal scorers in the division. Well, joint lowest with Morecambe now, because Morecambe did score at the weekend. Fleetwood have only won 2 of the last 11 games. However, they've only lost 11 for context as well. These types of games will define Fleetwood's season. And Bayless got the goal. It's his 3rd goal of the season. Now, Shrewsbury came with a plan. You've got Lee in midfield, who's box to box. You've got Shipley on that right midfield, but also can drop into centre midfield to make it a little bit more compact. You've got Bayless, who work the channels as well. You've got a nice compact back 5 as well, and a decent front 2 as well. I thought the strikers were the 2 least attacking players on the pitch in my eyes, and that says a lot about Shrewsbury's mentality. I think there's a difference in Steve Cottrell this year. I think he's more positive. He's more alert, and I think there's a feel-good factor. I think they've won 5 of the last 7 now, Shrewsbury. So they're no mugs at all, and it annoys me when people say that. They're on 21 points. They're 1 win in my eyes away from we're 50% safe in League One. 50%, because every team in League One, in my eyes, you target promotion. The first target is 50 points. 50 points, then you go 60, 70, build. Fleetwood are worry. There's one positive light about Fleetwood at the minute. Josh Earl, I will say this, I'm going to get called biased. He played the last 18 games for Preston last year, right? for good talent. I watched him yesterday. I didn't vlog yesterday. I wanted to watch the game. He played left back. He came on and he made the difference. I think Josh Hill's been in the top 10 best players in League One this season I'd maybe stretch to top 5 at this rate. I think he's been comfortable every game. I don't think he's made a mistake. Let's be honest, he's not a Rolls Royce types of Van Dijk where he'll ping balls everywhere, but he's comfortable on the ball. He's got a good left foot. He's got a good right foot. He can drive with the ball. And not a Rolls Royce, but more of a Ferrari, how I'd give him at the moment.
Ben, are you aware of what you've just said? Putting Josh Earl in the top.
Very sure. I watch him every week. You go to any of these football ratings and rating all the players, right? I know you can't go off them. He's in the top 10 of every one of those. I watch him every week, mate. And I said to you at the start of the season, you didn't even put him in our combined 11 at the start of the season.
No.
He walks in. He's, mate, come on. If you watch him every week like I do, any Preston fans, anyone that has watched Josh Hill will know he is a top player.
Obviously, your best mate comes back to bite you in the arse and he scores your best mate, Tom Bayliss, who you've been completely, brown-nosing for the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks.
You know something, Jake? Shipley at the post, he absolutely smashed the post. And I mentioned my vlog, I went, all right, Jordan, take it easy on him, son. I know we're rating you, but take it easy.
He knew that was coming, didn't you? I if I'm honest, Ben, I think this is a game you have to be disappointed that you've not at least picked up a point in. Shrewsbury, whilst they are currently occupying one of the lofty positions, they have played more games than quite a few teams. They've not particularly, from memory, they've not played really many of the top sides so far this season. So perhaps Shrewsbury are occupying a false position at the moment. But for Fleetwood, disappointing. I think, yes, you had 22 shots, 23 shots, 7 on target. That's quite disappointing, isn't it, don't you think?
Yeah, again, I'm not going to go into team news, but imagine when you bring Joe Garner on, he makes a big difference, but it still won't start. Again, hi, Charlton fan here, Shrewsbury at the weekend. How do you think we'll do? Tough game. Charlton really need to bounce back, but Charlton have, every time they go, I think it's away from home, isn't it? It is at Shrewsbury, I'm guessing. Charlton have yet to win away this season. Where's Jake gone? Has he gone?
Sorry, I was getting a phone call from my boss. I don't know what she wants.
Oh, sacked in the morning. Sacked in the morning, you son.
I'll turn me on Do Not Disturb. There you go.
Should have been already on that. So he's part-time. Hang on a minute. Tom, is that you, mate? I need you back, mate. Need you back. Can't have these part-timers here. Come on. Again, tough game. Charlton haven't won away from home yet this season. Again, four draws, 3 losses. And at home, it's 4 wins, 3 draws, I think. So it's completely the opposite. So it's going to be a tough game. Again, we'll go on to the next game.
Ben, you've skipped 2. You've missed Cambridge and Cheltenham.
I was going to come to that. Don't you worry, mate. There's a reason behind my madness. Go to Cambridge now, just for you. You go first, and then we will come to Cheltenham and we'll go to Ipswich just for you.
Well, I was going to say, Ipswich is the game that everyone's here to listen to me talk about, aren't they? So, yeah, good result for Wednesday by all accounts, wasn't it? I think it was a really professional. I've just done my preview with a Wednesday fan. I just spoke to Punk Chef. So, Jake, I know if you're lurking, mate, hello. I know you're busy. But he sort of told me that this was a game that they probably lose last year, based on the poor side. But they've got this trait about them this year, Sheffield Wednesday, that there's this never say die attitude. And you know what, Ben? It's the players that are impressing the Wednesday fans, like Stockdale, like Ben Hannigan, who probably didn't draw the biggest headlines when they signed him compared to Smith and Wilkes and Volks and players like that. That are actually doing the business for Wednesday, and little behold it, good League One players get you out of League One. But by all accounts, really professional performance against Cambridge, who we all know are very strong at home. So the Abbey's no easy place to go. and they've pulled away with a 2-0 win. So really good result for Wednesday. Obviously, they've got a bit of an harder game this weekend, but we shall see how they get on.
Yeah, exactly. From 10th downwards to 24th, played 8 games Sheffield Wednesday. They've won all 8 games. And for me, that is some record, isn't it? You know, these, you know, you can mention the record against a top size like Plymouth, you know, didn't do too well. Did the Ipswich, they drew. But the beating sides below them that they should beat, especially at home as well, which I think is a good start, that, and they're going away scoring goals. Gregory's not been as influential this year. I think that's his second and his third goal this year. But for Cambridge, you'd be worried for them because in the top 10, they played 6 games. Now, Cambridge aren't going to be in the top 10 at the end of the year. I'm quite sure on that, but they'll be anywhere between 10th and 16th, in my opinion. What are you smirking at?
Harry, you see Harry Kirk, who's just commented in the chat. He's currently sat in my living room, so that's why I've Harry. Top bloke up the Imps.
What a man. Love it, Harry. Up the Imps. Yeah, for me, Cambridge is going to be between 10th and 16th, 18th area as well. But they lost 6 out of 7 in the top 10, you know. Played 6, lost 5, drew 1. For me, worry. You want to at least show something, if not get a point. We'll go Cheltenham next. Bristol Rovers, I tell you what, when they put it on, they're a bit like posh in the way. When they put it on, they can score goals, they can beat anyone. But Cheltenham, honestly, it was laughable. I watched them and I thought, it was 3 mistakes, in my opinion. The fourth goal, defender comes out, misses the header, goal. Again, first one, error by the goalkeeper and the defender. You know, Collins is a good player, you can't give him time. You know, I think he's got 8 goals, 6 assists this season, Aaron Collins. You know, 10 points from 4 games. It's a really good record. Cheltenham, now, the next couple of games are huge. Burton away, Morecambe at home, MK Dons at home. After that, they play Ipswich away from home and then have the visit of Wycombe. So you think those next 3 games, if you lose all 3, you get sucked in and all of a sudden you have to go to Portman Road on the back of that. It's a huge few months for them, in my opinion.
Well, to go to Portman Road is not as scary as everyone makes out, Ben. I don't know.
There we go. Yeah, to be fair, I'm proud of you. You've lasted nearly half an hour.
Yeah, no, look, for Gas, really good performance. You know, I said to you, Ben, when we came away and we beat them 6-3 a few weeks ago, I said they'll be absolutely fine because they score goals for fun. Aaron Collins, Anthony Evans, Harry Anderson, players like that going forward are going to get goals at this level. You know, Aaron Collins doing really well for goals, isn't he? I think he's scored maybe 8 goals now in the league, 6 assists, doing really well.
I have just said that, son. I have just said that.
And they will. I'm not really listening to you. I've been paying attention to your mum trying to tell Harry to make me dinner. Basically, yeah. Look, been really impressed with Bristol Rovers since obviously that defeat to us. They've gone on a really good run, haven't they? They won 3 games this week. You're smirking. What are you smirking at?
Go on, carry on.
Oh, that's true, mate. That is. When Owls are getting exactly. Yeah, look. Gas being 4-0 up at half time, they sort of blow teams away, don't they? When they're at it, and they can be at it. But crucial weeks of the season get ahead for Cheltenham. Got some big games, and you fear that if they don't pick up many points, they might be one of those sort of getting into Burton, Morecambe territory.
Absolutely right.
Come on,
I'm going to limit you. So that's 90 seconds for the 90 minutes.
I want you to ask me questions about it.
I am going to do 90 seconds. I'm going to limit you after it. Right.
Yeah.
Positives for Ipswich. They've got 27,000 fans in the crowd.
Yeah.
It's only the first defeat of the season. They're still on 30 points, right? Yeah. For me, they need another 60. They're a third of the way to promotion, right? You know, it's sometimes hard to look at that when you've lost a couple of games and you think more negative than positive. But for Lincoln, I've mentioned them that a little bit like Fleetwood, the way that they get into a shape and very hard to beat. You know, they've got some good defenders and good midfielders. You know, I really like Matty Virtue. I really like the goalkeeper at Lincoln as well. Rushworth, I think he's a top player. So I think he kept them in the game the other day without him. I think Lincoln might be 7 points, 8 points worse off. I think you're thinking Lincoln could beat where Morecambe Burton are now.
Easy.
Let's have a look at them, right? Against teams above them at the moment, they played 8 times, right? Won 3, drawn 3, lost 2, 11 points. Again, behind them, below them, sorry. That includes Fleetwood at this moment in time. Played 4, won 1, drawn 2, lost 1, 6 points. Now, for me, you can say when you start playing lesser teams, you'll pick up points. But against the Forest Greens and, the Exeters, who you might expect at the time to beat, you haven't done this season. But to go to Portman Road is some result. It's not the first time you've done it this year. You beat Derby at home. You went to Oxford and won early on the season as well. Brilliant result. 90 seconds start now.
Yeah, do you know what? I'll give credit to Ipswich because 27,000 people and you can hear a pin drop. Fair play to them. Do you know what I mean? Now, I'm joking. Really good atmosphere around Portman Road when I went down on Saturday. Like the setup they've got. And do you know what? Ipswich are a very good football team. I can see why they've beaten so many and why they're sat on so many points. The way Lee Evans dictates them through midfield, even your centre halves like Wolfenden was stepping into midfield and playing some really good balls. First off, I think they were slightly off the boil. I didn't think they created many things. I think Leif Davis was probably their biggest threat down the left-hand side. And then obviously the goal comes, doesn't it? Sort of 27 minutes in from a set piece. I know a lot of Ipswich Town fans said, Lincoln came here, played for a set piece. But if you look at it, we're one of the worst teams attacking set pieces in the league. We've yet to score from a set piece. That's our first goal from offensively. We're very good defensively at set pieces, but offensively we've been tragic. And if you look at the goal back, it's the ball balloons up in the air. Ipswich fans are thinking, it's going to go out for a goal kick. Really clever header. If you've seen the goal, Ben, really clever header.
Paulie O'Connor deserves a lot of credit as well.
Yeah, really good header. And Ben House was on the spot to put it away. And you know what? Ben House obviously come from Eastleigh. He's really stepped up to the level pretty well. And then it was pretty much backs against the wall. Second half, we come out and started the brighter, I think. We hit the post from a corner. Ben House probably should have scored again. Jack Diamond had an opportunity that maybe 4 weeks ago he'd stick in the bottom corner. And this is a gripe. We should have had a penalty. Handball in the box. But you know what? You 1-0 up away at Ipswich. You're not going to take a penalty. You're not going to get a penalty, are you? And then it was wow. It was the only thing that I would criticise Ipswich for was it was just too much the same. Like their attacks they're always ending up the same. You've got Lee Evans starting, and like I said, you've got Harness dropping in. When they brought subs on, it was Chapman, it was Carl Edwards, it was Tyrese John Jules, Caden Jackson. They're all doing the same thing. And that's why I think we were able to defend it so well, because Ipswich didn't throw anything different at us. And like you say about Carl Rushworth, I mean, Adam Jackson played really, really well. I think I spoke to some Ipswich fans from the Talking Town pod, and they said it's probably the best defensive display from a centre-half that they'd seen at Portman Road in a long time, and Jacko was fantastic. But I completely echo what you say about Carl Rushworth. While you go on about Josh Earl, saying this, that about Josh Earl, Carl Rushworth is the one that I think is exceptionally talented. And he's in England under-21 for a reason, Ben. He's at Brighton, a Premier League club. And I said this on Twitter, I think I'll struggle to name 3 better keepers in League One than Carl Rushworth. I think I'd struggle. I think you've got the lad from Cooper at Plymouth. I think he's probably a better keeper. You sort of... Yeah, but I don't think Walton's as good as people are making out. I don't think he's commanding as what people are making out. So, look, really good 3 points. Really, really good 3 points. Obviously, we've got to back it up on Saturday. Sheffield Wednesday come to town. Going to be an equally as tough a game, but just proud as punch watching the boys go to Portman Road. No one's won there this season, and just proud as punch watching them walk off with 3 points because they deserved it. Defensively, they just I was in tears for the last sort of 5 minutes. I couldn't believe that we were going to beat Ipswich. So yeah, I'll be finished, but up there as a away day of the season so far, without a doubt.
Yeah, superb win. Character, belief, and they've got an abundance. Now, for me, they've got talent, Lincoln, and for me, they've got a better side than where they are in the league. I know you talk about the goalkeeper keeping them in, and sometimes that sounds like you've been lucky in games. But for me, you need a goalkeeper to keep you in at least once every game. And I think that if you've got that, and to remind me a little bit of Fleetwood when we were finishing the playoffs a couple of years ago, where they can go to a Portman Road and win 1-0. Ben House, by the way, just quickly, we speak about players or strikers scoring a goal, right? His goal against Derby County has done him the world of good. Went to Bristol Rovers, got a goal, now away at Portman Road. For me, it's a simple finish. And, I think, Paul O'Connor does all the hard work, but it's a good place to be at the right time. And scrambled bodies happens. So when you're on the pitch, it happens at 100 mile an hour from experience, believe me. Superb win. I want to talk about MK Dons Plymouth now because I've got a lot of notes about MK Dons and just a couple about Plymouth. Too good for Argyle. We'll talk about them in a minute because MK Dons in the top 12, they played 6 games this season. They've lost all 6. They've won 3 games, Port Vale at home, Oxford away, Morecambe away from home. Bear in mind, right, Plymouth scored 2 goals, 3 goals from pressing. MK Dons back line, they're so predictable. They play the same way. They don't change it. He's very stubborn. He has gone to more of a back 3, more of back 5 now at defence for Elijah, like a really compact, like a 5-3-1-1 behind Will Grigg. When you're doing that, I think the next change will be the goalkeeper change. And when that happens, you think, is Liam Manning out of a job? For me, not quite yet, but they're not looking the same. This is not a bad MK Dons side. I know they've lost a lot of good players, but to lose in the manner that they've done, to lose the last 4 games, to lose 6 of the last 8, to roll over this easy, to give balls away. The first goal is an absolute disastrous mistake. It is poor, but Plymouth Argyle, they've got belief, they've got strength, they've got character, they press in numbers, they're phenomenal. Plymouth Argyle are phenomenal at football. Steven Schumacher's had 46 games from he came in this point last year to now. He's played 46 games. They've won 27 games. I cannot explain how good that is. I think they're on course. That would be 75, 77, 81 points. They've drawn 7. That is, they've lost 12 games in 46 games, which 88 points. Yes, last season that will get you into the 3rd, something like that. For me, if they carry on that and they keep him, I know West Brom have been linked with him. I hope he stays because they have got so many good players. Izaz, I really like. You've got Ennis who scores goals. You've got so many players that can't even get a game at them now. They've got a settled team, brilliant fan base that travel 2,500 of them. 34 points. Honestly, there's just something special there. The Ipswich, Portsmouth, those sorts of sides, Wednesday might have better squads in them overall. I think you'll struggle to find a better 11 than Plymouth Argyle, in my opinion. And I think Steven Schumacher, what he's done, bear in mind Ryan Lowe left him in the mud and he's come up from his system and did nothing. They've got better. And wow, just electric.
Yeah, I think, if you're quickly touching on MK Dons, I think it's pretty much a rewrite of the game against Peterborough a couple of weeks ago, except the late flurry they didn't have. Defensively, again, I say this every time about MK Dons, they look sort of, was it 2020, 2021, that season, they look the exact same, don't they? Walking on eggshells all the time, playing in poor positions. Yes, Liam Manning likes to play with the ball out from the back, and that is the MK Dons philosophy. But they're giving the ball away in awful areas. And like you say, Morgan Whittaker, really good player for this level, capitalises. I think when you're talking about Plymouth, obviously at the moment there's a lot of talk around Steven Schumacher and won't he take the job over at West Brom. I think even if the worst case scenario when Schumacher was to get the job over at the Hawthorns, I think Plymouth are that good. Anyone could walk in there and they can go off and carry on the way they are at the moment. So obviously I wouldn't like to see Schumacher go. But then you want to see British coaches get, the bigger jobs around the country, don't you? So you're in this sort of position where you don't want him to leave because Argyle are playing really good football at the moment. But you also want Stephen Schumacher to go on and have a really good career in management and try himself at the top level. So it'll be difficult if he does disappear. But like I say, whoever comes in, I think he's going to inherit a really good squad. And the man that we always seem to be talking about, Finn Azaz, on loan from Villa, sensational season last year in League Two for Newport County, and like you say, the likes of Collins that have stepped up, players that have stepped up from divisions below this season, Giovanni Brown, Sam Mumba, you said, I think none more so than Finn Azaz, taken to the level like a duck to water, and 3 goal contributions on Saturday. Just one hell of a player. I don't think that they're in the danger of Villa recalling him, because obviously Villa are in the Premier League. But if Villa were in the Championship and you were Steven Gerrard or who the manager of Villa, you'd be on the phone to Argyle saying, right, 1st of January he's coming back because the boy's special. And yeah, just you're running out of words to describe them with Argyle this season. They're literally fantastic, and we've got them in a couple of weeks, and I'm pretty terrified about the thought of playing them. But yeah, it was a bit of a whitewash, wasn't it?
Yeah, agree. Now, MK Dons, just quickly, right? I've watched bits of them this week, and I thought, well, hang on a minute. The play literally between the 18-yard box and the halfway line inside their half, and it's that box there. Now, if you go man to man and press their back 3, which you got Jules there, I watched him last year. He just launches the ball. That's all he can do. If you go and press them man for man and go 3 against 3, I tell you what, you're going to get joy. You're going to get maybe 10 opportunities a game. You just literally go full hammer, press their back 3. All of a sudden, the midfielders have to drop. Then all of a sudden, they've got no attacking outlet, and you can put men forward as well. And it's like literally non-stop and brilliant attacking this play. I think you've got the worst side at what they're doing at the minute against the best side against what MK Dons show. You know what I mean? They're very slow on the ball. You can press that, you're going to get opportunities. We'll quickly go on to Vale Forest Green, Jake. 2-2. Ellis Harrison, 6 in 7 now. 7 goals for the season. But Forest Green Rovers were 2-0 up. But again, great quality and great endeavour and spirit and character shown by Port Vale to rescue a point, to carry on again. Bear in mind, this is a side that we said that will need to keep the points sticking on the board. They've only gone 3 games without a win twice this season. That's the biggest streak without a win. And if they can keep that, they're going to be more than fine this year.
Yeah, really, when you're looking at the score at half-time and it says 2-0 Forest Green, you're thinking, what's going on with Port Vale? Because Forest Green have been that poor. Most teams have pushed them aside this season. Port Vale, obviously very strong at Vale Park, come clawing back. Ellis Harrison, you know what he can do, Ben, at the level. Odebeko, the other goal scorer, he's got something to prove. Obviously had a really poor loan spell with Doncaster Rovers last year. He wants to prove himself at the level. So, look, if you Port Vale and you're 2-0 down with 12 minutes to go and you draw the game 2-2, you're going to be pretty happy, aren't you? And the most important thing is Harrison scored another goal. Like you said, they keep ticking over. Probably need to throw a couple more wins in there just to make sure that they are towards, getting out of safety a bit quicker. But, Port Vale fans will just be enjoying the ride of being back in League One, I think.
Agree. Wycombe beat Peterborough. Again, Peterborough have lost 5 of the 7 away, Jake. Talk to me about them, and I'll discuss Wycombe. Again, they're very on and off, aren't they? They're really good 1 minute, really poor the next. And I don't know what to say about them anymore because, they've conceded a lot of goals. I think they're the second, the joint highest goals conceded in the top 10. I think they conceded 17 goals so far this season. And if you want to be doing well in this league, the good sides don't concede goals.
Yeah. Like you say with Peterborough away from home, you said that you can get at them in tough moments, can't you? And Peterborough again showcased that on the weekend. Going a goal up, perhaps a slight little bit of complacency, but Wycombe have sort of got this vibe around them, haven't they? That we say it so many times for Wycombe at this level. their house, their rules. I think it was Anthony Stewart that came out and said that after a game, or was it Cheltenham? Yeah, really sort of stuck home, and it's the same man that seems to be doing all the work at the moment. It's Anis Mehmeti. We go on about him every week on this show. But perhaps a new boy that we're going to be talking about more often is Alfie Mawson, because wow, 2 assists in the space of a week, 2 really good assists as well. So good 3 points in Wycombe. Obviously, their supporters were getting a little bit alarmed about where they were in the league table, down sort of languishing towards the bottom 4. But good couple of wins put them up a couple of positions. So I think they'll be looking forward and looking ahead to the playoffs, rather than looking back over the shoulder. But for Peterborough, a lot of teams have got a lot of games in hand of them, and like I told you over before we came on air, for example, we're down in 13th. If we know when a game's in hand over, and we can go above them. So they'll just be aware they want to push their points per game up a little bit, because if they want to finish in the playoffs and have a chance of going straight back up, they're going to need to sort of put their ideas up a little bit.
Agree. Mawson, he just carried the ball, didn't he? And we know he can do it. Similar area to where he got the assist for the Oxford game, up just slipped it through Mehmeti with a brilliant finish as well. Sam Vogt's on the score sheet as well, which will be good for him and good for Wycombe. When you get back-to-back wins, all of a sudden it boosts you up by 6 points. It's kind of thing, well, who's next? Where are we going next? And great win. Go on then, Charlton again. I tell you what, I analysed this game. I watched it pretty much all back, and I watched maybe 12 minutes, and I thought, ooh, Portsmouth aren't right. I've watched them a couple of times. Now, Portsmouth, they've got 2 weaknesses. Set plays, 2 games in 2, short corners come in, they've lost the first header, and what they've done is they've got the ball to come short, they've gone towards the back post where there's been a man to nod it back into the box, which they've always lost that contact, and then there's been a man there to head home. Mendes Gomez last week, now again this week, where it was 2-0 as well, and it's embarrassing defensively, really, if you're looking to get promotion. Every time as well that you're defending, they don't look right. And when they're on the ball playing out, I know they're playing players out position like Clark Robertson, Conor Alldrive. I get that, but you can press them, and all of a sudden they look panicky on the ball. Against Peterborough, they played out from the back, they lost the ball, Peterborough scored. All of a sudden, that happens as well. On the ball in midfield, they're looking a little bit slow, the front 6 all of a sudden. I know you've got Morel and Marlon Pack who got sent off, which is a huge blow for them. You lose 3-0, and one of your best players gets sent off, but it gives an opportunity for another player to come in and maybe re-energise that. And Marlon Pack has to come back and show his performances that he was in the first 5 or 6 games. In my opinion, Marlon Pack's been one of the best players in League One this year, but I think his performances in the last 4 or 5 games have slipped. And there's no coincidence that Portsmouth have only won 1 game in that, where his performances have slipped. So maybe it's him dictating the play, or detect Portsmouth's results as well. So I'm not worried about Portsmouth. However, one win out of 5 against teams in the top 10. They've lost 2, drew 2. It's not brilliant. They've lost the last 2 away games, but they're still a very, very good side. Hold off on Charlton for now, because I want to come to them. But just talk to me about Portsmouth at the moment.
Yeah, like you said, Pompey just didn't really seem right, did they? I think they're missing Tommy Lowry. Obviously, I've spoke to Tom, quite heavily over this morning, today, and yesterday, and he spoke to me a lot about the game, saying that they really missed Tommy Lowry in midfield. I think whilst Joe Morel is not a bad player for this level, I think Tommy Lowry just moves the ball a little bit quicker with Marlon Pack. They're also missing Joe Rafferty, who they weren't expecting was going to be a big signing for them. Obviously, they've had to put Clark Robertson over to left back, and Conor Ogilvie, who is naturally left-footed left full-back, over to the right-hand side, which has messed up with the balance of Danny's team a little bit. I think that Pompey can be considered unlucky in moments of the game on Monday night. I think, obviously, that Wallacott makes a really good save from a Colby Bishop header. I think they should have been awarded a penalty in the first half. I think it's Owen O'Connell clearly has hold of Dane Scarlett's shirt in the area, and for me, it's a clear penalty, and they probably should send the man off. but the second half was very abject, and Danny Cowley's sides aren't often very abject, and they look defeated already. And obviously, the second goal, you could sort of epitomise it when Corey Blackett-Taylor completely runs through them and slots in. Yeah, it's one of those. Obviously, Marlon Pack getting sent off at the time didn't really help, and I think Danny was trying to make substitutions to try and figure out a way back into the game, but they just weren't able to do it. And one thing that I have spoke to Tom, especially at length about, is Josh Griffiths, actually, because obviously he was on loan at Lincoln last season, had a pretty inconsistent season, if I'm honest with you. The thing with Josh is he isn't very controlling of his box.
No. Jigsaw. I call him Jigsaw. I'll tell you why I call him Jigsaw. Every time the ball comes into his box, he falls to pieces. And Cloughie would say the same about him as well, for those who know.
The thing that makes Josh stand out from other goalkeepers, and as a goalkeeper I can appreciate it, he can pull off the spectacular. So you look at some of the saves that he made last season. Some of the games that are sticking to mind are Burton Albion away, made a couple of really, really top-class saves, made a really top-class save on Monday night as well to deny Charlton. I think it was Blackett-Taylor from scoring a second as well. So I just don't think he's commanding enough. I think that's going to be an issue. But yeah, not the best night of the office for Pompey. And I said this to Tom. I don't think Danny Cowley teams can have two really, really poor performances in a row. So I can imagine on Saturday, I think they've got Forest Green, haven't they? Danny loves playing against Forest Green. Any Lincoln fans in here will tell you that he's got a good record against Forest Green. And I imagine Pompey will be a bit more at it on Saturday. But fingers crossed, the thing with Pompey is, Ben, I know I've gone on a lot here, so I do apologise. We've sort of seen them the last couple of weeks, just seen them dragged back into the pack, haven't we? Because it was the top four. It was Plymouth, Wednesday, Ipswich and Pompey. Pompey's place in that top four now looks a little bit at risk. So Pompey are sort of been clawed by the back of the shirt and are back in the pack. So be really interesting the next couple of weeks for Portsmouth. And I'm sure Danny will have them playing better, but poor performance, just not at the office.
After he's sending off the other day, Portsmouth are back in the Marlon pack. Anyway, Charlton, we'll talk about them just quickly. At home, 4 out of 7 home wins for me, and that is absolutely it's top record. 15 points at home, 7 games, 2.14, 1.5, 16 points a game, however you want to work out your maths. And then they're in the top 4 in that. And then you look at the bottom area and away form, they're there. They've drew 4, lost 3, and it's like, where's consistency, lads? And the way they play, the pitch is very wide, they're very open. They like getting out to the wingers, touching, splitting back fours, getting balls into the box, and all of a sudden you've got a goal and got an opening. And that's how I see the way Cheltenham play. I think it's quite hard to play against. It's quite easy to play against if you want to go there and defend for 90 minutes. However, if you one moment of concentration and they're going to hurt you, and then it's really hard to get back into the game. So it's really difficult to play Charlton from what I've watched kind of them at home this year. Innes and Blackett-Taylor and O'Connell getting goals. You're seeing 2 centre-halves getting goals as well. And Blackett-Taylor, for me, is I think he's a bit like Josh Caroma, where he can pull an absolute worldie of a game out, where he'll score a goal. And it's a nice finish by the lad, to be fair. Really good slotted finish. But then 3 games, he doesn't do anything. So I want to see more from Corey Blackett-Taylor, because I do think he's got the potential to be one of the best players in this league. I think he's fast, he's agile, he can take players on, he can score you a goal, he can get you into the box, he'll drive forward. And he's got a lot of attributes, but it's that consistency. And there's a reason, Jake, that if there's a player, right? There's so many players in League One that are good players that should be above. But there's a reason why there's a player in League One, whether that's experience, whether if that's he wants to be at a certain club or he's happy there. There's an absolute at least one reason. And Blackett-Taylor's is consistency. If he can be more of an 8 out of 10 every week, problem is with him, he's either a 9 out of 10 or he's a 6 out of 10. There's no in between. I'm going to make your point sound even better, Ben. Whilst he had the night against Pompey that he did on Monday night, came off the bench against Lincoln maybe 10 days ago. 10 days ago? When did we play Charlton? A couple of weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. When Charlton should have won, and they got to 12. And was horrific. Nothing came off, couldn't complete a pass.
think his game was pretty much summed up when he went to the byline and tried to cross it in, and fell over his foot. So I think you're right with Blackett-Taylor. As for Charlton, I think they've been forced into this. Obviously, since they've played us, they've scored 9 goals. They've scored 7 goals in 2 games. 4 against Exeter, 3 against Pompey on Monday. And I think they've been forced to change system, if I'm honest. Miles Lieburn out till Christmas, massive blow for them. But could it be a bit of a blessing in disguise? Because whilst they were doing 4-4-2 and they were very dangerous going forward and picking up first contacts, the game against us, they weren't picking up the second balls at all. Whereas they've gone, it looked a bit more of a 4-5-1, 4-4-3, 4-3-3 against Pompey on Monday night. And it seemed to work a lot better. They got Scott Fraser a lot closer to Jaden Stockley. They had Charlie Kirk one side and Blackett-Taylor the other, causing problems. So, yeah, really good performance for Charlton. At home, very strong, like you mentioned. But I just think that Charlton need to clear up their away form. If they're going to be up, if they're going to be in the top 6 by the end of the season, and Ben Garner, that will be the aim for Ben Garner, no doubt. I imagine Thomas Sangard has probably forced him to want there. They're probably a couple of years away, like you say. But that away record's got to pick up, because at home they probably play anyone off the park, and it's such an intimidating place to go when the Valley's fully completely full. So yeah, really good 3 points, good performance for Charlton, and I think the fact that that's a bit of a statement result. They can beat top sides in the top 6 and are meant to be one of the better sides. So going toe to toe and matching them and probably outperforming them for 70 minutes will be a really good sign for Ben Garner.
Agree. And just quickly, because we are wary of time, we'll just have a quick skim through the League One table. We got Morecambe, Burton, MK Dons, Forest Green in that bottom 4. But Forest Green Rovers are only 6 points off the top 12 where Bristol Rovers hang up. And you look at your Lincolns, your Fleetwoods, your Port Vales, your kind of Accringtons, Oxfords, those types of sides just scrambling in that bottom 12. And a couple of good results for the Tides, just out nearing up the bottom 12, and those ones dragging down like your Cambridges, your Accringtons, again dropping points at the weekend as well. Charlton and Derby both get impressive results and move into that top 10. Charlton, disappointing start, but only lost 3 of their first 14 games this season. And at the end of the year, that's only 10 defeats in a year, just too many draws. You've got Shrewsbury, Bolton just outside of that top 6 as well. Barnsley, Peterborough, and obviously the Mag 4. You've got Peterborough instead of Portsmouth as well, although they aren't on the greatest of runs as well. Sheffield Wednesday, Ipswich and Plymouth are on 34 points, 2.43 points a game for Argyle. Wednesday are over 2 points a game and still can't make it inside the top 2. It's a mental league, and again, we've had another League One show. But before we go, we'll have a little Q&A for the next 3 or 4 minutes. But just before we do so, Jake, do you want to plug your channel? We'll put you on self-logo for this. Give you the attention for 30 seconds. Where can they go and find your channel?
Stacey West podcast. So we are predominantly a website that produces Lincoln City content. Gary's pretty much spending all day writing his stuff on there. We have a podcast that comes out every Friday at 12 o'clock most weeks. That we've got 4 hosts that do that, and also the Stacey West on YouTube, where we do a preview of an opposition fan. We also sit down on a Sunday and have a chinwag about the game that just took place. So if you could come and give us some love, they're trying to get to 1,000 subs as soon as we can. Just gone past 650 now, which I seem to be saying for about 5 weeks straight, which is pretty depressing. But keep putting the work in it, and the subscribers will come. So if you could come over, that would be much appreciated. That's me done, Ben, for now.
Also, we've got some news as well, which we've been working on for a long while. But before we come to that, give the show a like. There's currently 40 of you in the chat. So if you could give a like, we're on 23 likes. Let's try and get 50 likes. Subscribe if you're new. We are closing in on 10,000 subscribers. The big announcement now, for a long while, me and my father and a couple of writers, I've been writing about Premier League football, and it's here, lads. La Prem de la Prem, we have wrote a book about all things Premier League. It's like an Argos catalogue. There's so many pages. You'd struggle to, honestly, it's like, I don't know, it's like a brick that. So if you are interested in a copy, just give me a DM. Again, and we can sort out postage for it as well. Loads of copies. There's 50, there's over 100 players in here that are covered. And also, if we hit 10,000 subscribers before December 3rd, we'll be giving a couple of free copies away as well as a giveaway. So if you are interested in a book of this, let us know. They are flying out. And again, any support would be appreciated with that as well. Who surprised you most? Who surprised you most from our team on? Oh, I like Winchester. I think he partners at midfield three a lot. I was surprised at the lineup because I didn't know where Winchester and Shipley. I thought one would play right centre mid and one would play right mid, and I thought Winchester allowed Luke Leahy and Bayliss to play the way they did. So I think you've got to give them credit. Morosi and goal, I thought had a pretty solid game. The distribution was spot on. So probably Winchester, but my love affair with Jordan Shipley and Tom Bayliss goes on. I think they're phenomenal. I really, really do. Thanks for the content. I do appreciate that, mate. We are 12 points off Pompey and Pompey on 10 points off relegation. Well, there you are. I think Sinclair is a good. Yeah, Scott Sinclair did sign. Not the first time Joey Barton's brought some big name signings to his club that he's manager of, and it's not gone too well. So reserve judgment for now. I'm sure Portsmouth will be back and will make the playoffs. Yeah, I do as well. Again, Jake, FA Cup draw. What was your thoughts?
Chippenham Town away for us. They beat Hendon in a replay last night, so down to Chippenham we go. Yeah, I think we might well be on the TV. Hoping they don't muck us up and go Monday night or something like that, or Sunday tea time. That would be a nightmare. But happy with the draw. Non-league side, new ground to go to, and a possibility of either a really good cup upset or we advance into the second round. So you know what, happy to just to be part of it, really.
Yeah, agree. And I'm buzzing. Oxford City at home again. It's not a guarantee that we'll win the game of football, but we've had awful draws. I don't want anyone in our league unless it's. I think Lincoln, Portsmouth, Ipswich away were the only three clubs that I would have accepted just for the days out personally, or more the night out in terms of our case, Jake. Again, Lincoln were centre halves who were meant against us. Yep, agree. Jake, any final words before we finish off?
Sheffield Wednesday, we're coming for you on Saturday, 1:00 kickoff. Next week's show is going to be very spicy, I can imagine. Now, I will just let you know that if we do win, I won't go too far on the abuse for you. However, I am looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a really interesting game. Really good side Wednesday. They've had to move it forward to 1:00 for policing reasons because last year it was an absolute joke. So should be interesting. Hopefully you bring your big sold out your big away end, and it'll be a really good occasion. So really looking forward to Wednesday at home, and then I can sit back and relax and watch Fleetwood get beat again. So happy days.
Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. I do really appreciate your guys' support. We're gonna exit him. Thanks, guys, for your support. We do really appreciate him. You can hear him chuckling in the background as well. Again, we're closing in on 10,000 subscribers. We are just 320 away now. We are getting closer every single day as well. So if you could subscribe, it would mean the world to me. Again, it would be great. And we will give away one of these, a couple of these as well. So if you want a copy, just give me a message. Again, it's a good book. I'm actually quite proud of it as well. I've done something. And yes, those people in the comments saying I can write. But a big over and out from me and a big over and out from Jake. He's smiling, bless him. Any final words, Jake? Bark up the imp, say?
No, mate, I'm done now. Bring on the Wednesday. That's all I have to say. Hopefully your tears will fit nicely. No, put me back on. Hopefully your tears will fit nicely into this little jar for next week. Can't wait.
To be fair, you without a water bottle's pain because you have to have about half of it every stream. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I do really appreciate it. Give it a like, give it a subscription. Until next time, guys, I will see you later. Bigger over and out. Up those quads.
Up the imps.